Part 2, we have a debt that we owe to God. Okay, so God made man in his own image, Genesis 1:26-27. This implies a spiritual duty, a spiritual debt that we owe to God. Because we owe him everything, right? We wouldn't exist without him. Okay, so this is where it gets fun. Romans 12:1, this is called our spiritual worship in ESV, or spiritual service of worship in NASB, which is how we learned it last year. And then our reasonable service in the King James Version, which I keep bringing up because that's where we're getting a lot of our piety verses today. Okay, so the suggestion of our whole life as a sacrifice unto the Lord is in the context, again, not of earning God's favor, not of earning points with God. We cannot do that. Everything we've needed for righteousness is in Jesus, right? But instead, that service of worship is in continuing to reflect him, i.e., bearing his image, doing the thing that he started having us do in Genesis 1, right? Okay. Moving on to God's promises in reference to piety. So our sin was imputed to Christ. It was punished on the cross, and then all of his righteousness got imputed to us or put on us, right? Okay, so we have God's favor. We do not have to earn it. And God promised it. And the fun thing is God promised it before history, right? And the Bible even says before the foundation of the world, he had planned to send Jesus. So God promised it before. We're living out our salvation here on earth, but we haven't received like a renewed body yet. We haven't received eternity yet. So there's still one more piece to come. But because of God's promises that he has held true in the past, we can trust him for his promises towards the future. Okay, so if piety is this proper love and reverence for God and working it out through our actions, then it also involves believing the promises that God has given us. Okay, and then his presence. So remember how we said piety is a proper response? So God's law is our basic moral framework. Our faith doesn't just live in our heads, right? We need to be a whole embodied person. We've talked about that. So scriptures command us to glorify God in our physical bodies, in our physical life. 1 Corinthians 6:19. So glorify God in your body. We're told to honor God with our wealth. Proverbs 3:9. So basically there is not an area of life where we are safe from this invasion of piety, right? Piety is supposed to touch every single part of our walk, of our life, our physical bodies, piety, our spiritual, the inner man, piety, our minds, piety, our wealth, our resources, our giving, piety, the good works that we do, piety. There is not a single section of our lives that is not affected by this very important concept. And this is why I think it's a shame that it's neglected in the modern church. Okay. And finally, if we find ourselves without a healthy fear of God, and without a right view of God, then it's time to remember to go back to Isaiah 6 and remember that just the trend